Welcome to Sitcom Showdown, a podcast that reviews classic sitcom episodes and inducts them into our very own Hall of Fame. As usual, one of us has chosen a sitcom episode and the other guy has no idea what it's going to be. Will they already know it? Will they love it? Can they be convinced that it's worthy? Let's find out on the Sitcom Showdown. Hello and welcome back to Sitcom Showdown. Thank you for joining us for episode 66. It's Jeff is here, and Steve, you're here
Yes. Hello listeners, how are you? Great to have you with us, as usual.
So, second episode of 2020.
Yeah.
And it's your turn, Steve.
It's my choice.
Right.
Yeah. Are you itching to know what it is?
Well, I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a sitcom called Norsemen.
Right. Never heard of it.
Never heard of it? Okay.
It's not about Vikings, is it?
It is.
Well, there you go.
How did you guess?
At least the clue's in the name.
And I've chosen an episode called The Funeral. So yes, I am going to try and convince you, Jeff, that another episode about a funeral is worthy of entry into the Hall of Fame. It's episode 3 of season 1. So it's set in 790 AD, and the description from Netflix is that the Vikings of Norheim have a hectic schedule that includes pillaging, plundering, enslaving others, and solving problems with violence.
This sounds alright.
It sounds alright.
Yep. I'm hoping this will be like Chelmsford 1, 2, 3, except good. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see. So it's set in 790 AD. This is well before the Good Places points system was broken, Jeff.
Okay, right. Yep.
I'm not sure that's good news for our Viking friends, but we'll see what you think. It's similar to Quacks in that the theme is it's a bit more violent and saucier than some of our usual, or the usual kind of thing we're watching.
Oh.
And at times walks a fine line between the hilarious and the hard to watch, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
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 So, yes, I wouldn't be putting this on in front of the kiddies.
Oh, okay,
or those of a sensitive disposition.
Yes. Right.
Yes. You're not seeing the violence face on.
No.
And it's done
implied.
in a cartoonish way.
Yeah.
But still, someone getting sliced in twain is...
Yeah, it's a bit... You don't come across that every day in your real life.
No. Certainly not. Also, this is an ongoing story, like so many modern sitcoms.
Ooh.
So there's no takesy-backsies.
All right. I see.
If you're dead, you're dead.
Right, yeah.
And that's it. So this is produced on the NRK1 network, which is the Norwegian Broadcasting Corporation.
My goodness.
The Norwegian equivalent of the BBC or the ABC.
Yep.
So it's from Norway, where the show is called Viking Game.
Okay.
And by the way, I'm going to butcher all the pronunciations throughout this episode, but just bear with us, listeners, or bear with me. So it's recorded in both Norwegian and English, Jeff.
Brilliant.
Yes. So this is, it's been running for 2 seasons, and the third is being made.
Okay.
Sounds like it might be in post-production, so it's been running since 2016.
Right.
And the first season won the Gullruten Award in 2017 for Best Comedy Show. This is the Norwegian equivalent of...
The Logies?
The Logies or the Emmys or...
The BAFTAs?
The BAFTAs. Something like that.
Oh.
So famous stars and other interesting background. Now you're not going to know any of these people, but I'm going through the list anyway.
You know, one of them will be directing Marvel movies next week or something like that, no doubt.
Maybe. So we'll start with these guys. It's written and directed by John Ivar Helvika and Jonas Torgerson.
Yep.
Perhaps one of the best known actors is Cora Conradi, who stars as Orm. Now, Orm is the brother of Chieftain Olaf.
Right.
And husband of Froya. Got that?
Nope.
Orm's interests lie outside traditional Viking pursuits, as we are going to see in this episode. Now, Cora is one of Norway's most experienced actors on stage and screen. He's also a singer, Jeff.
So he's an all-round entertainer. He's the Don Lane of Norway.
Yes.
He's the Paul McDermott of Norway.
I'm not sure how high a pedestal that's putting him on.
Okay, fair enough. He's the Hugh Jackman of Norway.
Yeah. Moving on to Nils Jorgen Karlstad as Arvid, the chieftain's second in command. Now, Arvid is a major character who loves to go on raids, but he also wants to settle in the village. By the way, I'm mercilessly ripping off descriptions from
Oh, yeah.
Wikipedia and IMDb and adding my own bits.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, exactly. Marion Sarstad Otterson is Hilda, Chief Olaf's wife. She is a wily and resourceful character. Celia Torp plays Freya, Orm's unhappy wife, and a shield maiden, I'm just going to say this, who rapes men on raids.
I see.
Yes. My further description was
Off-screen.
She's a tall, yes, off-screen, tall, fierce blonde with a Todge necklace.
All right.
Yeah, so it's equal opportunity in all realms when it comes to
plundering
the village
and
of
taking what you want.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sadly, we don't get to see much of Freya in this episode. Trond Arvag stars as Rufus, who is an enslaved actor from Rome.
Right.
So they came back from a raid with Rufus in tow. And yes, he's not enjoying it too much, let me tell you.
Well.
So Trond has gained some international attention when he co-starred with Steven Van Zandt in the TV series Lilyhammer, playing Van Zandt's right hand and partner in crime. And for this role, he won the Gullruten Award in 2014 for Best Actor.
Ah, brilliant. Okay.
Now, Lilyhammer, by the way, is another well-known Norwegian sitcom.
Aha.
An American gangster who gets relocated. Is it through a witness protection program or something like that? Anyway, comes to Norway and no doubt causes trouble. Oh. But quite a few of the actors from the one we're about to watch.
Yeah.
Norsemen is in that one as well, yeah. Øystein Martinsen plays Kark.
Right, sorry, yes. Kark is what?
A freed slave who was voluntarily returned to his life as a slave.
Okay.
So
right.
Kark is actually probably my favourite character. So is it Stockholm Syndrome if you stay a slave in Norway?
But yeah.
He loves the life of a slave so much he's decided to stay on.
Everyone's got their interests and their hobbies.
Yes, okay. And then lastly, Christine Reese as Liv, Arvid's wife. But again, we don't get to see much of Liv in this episode. She's a bit of a Fruit Loop, is my assessment.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, Jeff, how about we watch this thing?
Okay.
All right, strap yourself in.
The only thing I know is that he died of natural causes.
Did you have time to tell you he wanted me to take over as chieftain?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And his last words were that was just a very grotesque joke.
That was not my impression. It was a joke.
But you know what they say? That those who take a joke just as a joke and seriousness seriously, they have actually understood both poorly.
Yeah.
And here the seriousness was the joke.
I didn't quite catch that, but I don't know if I can accept this just like that.
Everyone here knows that I am next in line. And if you have a problem with that, then we have something called the Blood Eagle.
Seriously? Is that how you intend to handle this?
That's exactly how I intend to handle this, Arvid. That is how I handle things like this.
Can you guess what's going to happen, listeners, in the episode called The Funeral? Let's take you through a synopsis. We start with a very eerie scene in a forest, early morning or something like that, and Hilda is holding a lit torch and she's on her way to visit the shaman. She's going there to inquire about the fate of her husband, Chief Olaf, who has sustained a severe wound in the previous episode. I think he was stabbed by someone. Meanwhile, Arvid has gone to visit Olaf, who's obviously laid up in bed right at the moment, and with, quote, his guts basically hanging out for everyone to see. Not that you can see his guts, but
no,
he's in pretty bad shape. Now, Arvid's got a heart of gold, but that's when he's not slaughtering innocents.
No.
But his bedside manner leaves something to be desired. Would you say that's an accurate description?
Oh, he's downplaying stuff.
Yeah. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. A couple of days. All that sort of thing. So at this point, Olaf asks Arvid to feel his heart. And Arvid rests his hand
On his
on
chest.
Olaf's chest, and he says, no, really feel my heart. So he kind of puts his hand underneath his shirt, and you feel this squelching, or hear all this squelching going on. Yeah. That's,
And poor Arvid's like, yeah, feels fine for...
yeah, that's right.
He's sort of a bit grossed out, but...
So Olaf's not feeling the best, but he is pushing through, and he announces that if Odin forbid he dies, he wants Arvid to take over as chief, not that girly boy Orm,
Right.
which is his brother. And he's going to tell the village of his decision the next day.
Righto.
But what they don't realise is that Orm is listening at the door.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Now...
Which, straight away, even
Yes.
if you've never seen this before, you don't know, okay, here's a sneaky bastard for listening at the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he is. Back with Hilda and the shaman announces that Olaf would live. And Hilda, having received the good news, refuses to complete her end of the deal, which is that she should drink from the prophecy pot, which is a pot that everyone before her has spat in. So we'll have to see what effect that has on the outcome, because the shaman seems to say that if you don't follow the protocols, all bets are off.
Yeah.
And she's saying, no, that's not logical at all. Anyway, we'll see.
Ooh.
Olaf is continuing to lay things out for Arvid, and having already felt in his chest, tells Arvid to look in his chest, the one under his bed. The chest under his bed contains a map which he's drawn, a map to the west, which has been promised to Jarl Varg, and if he doesn't get it, it could be trouble for the whole village, because apparently Jarl is a bit of a violent fruitcake.
Right. And he must have asked a favour of Jarl Varg at some point in the past, which has to be repaid with a map.
There was some agreement. It might have been Olaf and his crew could go to the west, but if they did that and they were successful, then they would prepare a map which could then be passed on.
Aha.
I'm guessing it was something along those lines. They're interrupted then by Orm's formal arrival. And Orm, he kind of comes in and stands in the doorway, making Arvid squeeze past him.
Yeah.
And there's this fantastic sound of leather rubbing up against leather as that happens. Anyway, Orm, he starts well. He gets straight down to asking about his brother's strength and mobility, which isn't suspicious at all.
Yeah.
And in a scene outside, Hilda and Arvid have a meeting. They're sitting down together. And he tells her about Olaf's wish that he should take over as chief if he dies. Despite her encouragement about being how he's so kind and honest and warm and strong, really strong, and she puts her hand on his thigh.
Yeah.
He's a bit reticent about it. He's not looking forward to it, is he?
No.
But they're interrupted then by Orm coming out of the shack and announcing that Olaf is dead.
Ooh.
And this is where we first discover his love for the theatrical. And we go to the intro. Now, Jeff, you are a bit disturbed that the intro appeared 9 minutes into the episode.
Yeah, here's the opening titles.
Yeah?
9 minutes in? I mean, I've heard of a pre-credit sequence, but that's got to be the longest pre-credit sequence in history.
So, just coming back to the prophecy pot.
Right.
If Hilda had drunk from the prophecy pot, would Olaf have died?
Well, that's one of the big questions, isn't it? I'm going to say yes, he would. I think at that point, when it's, 790 AD and your guts are hanging out, it's all over.
It's curtains for you.
Yeah.
Well, we cut back to the same scene where the villagers now gathered around. Orm is hiding a bloodied hand and tells Arvid that...
Like, very poorly.
Yes, very poorly. Tells Arvid that Olaf died of natural causes and it went quickly at the end.
Yeah.
But before he did mention his grotesque joke about Arvid becoming chief, which was just meant to be a joke and blah, 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 blah. He blusters his way through Arvid's objections to this, threatening something called Blood Eagle.
Right.
Now, would you like to hear what Blood Eagle is?
Well...
You take a wild stab in the dark.
I always thought there was a thing like... called something like Blood Eagle, where they pull your ribcage apart and they do all these things. Is it that
You're
sort
very
of
close, Jeff.
Ah, thank
it's
you.
a ritual method of execution detailed in late skaldic poetry.
Brilliant.
According to the two instances mentioned in the sagas, the victims were placed in a prone position, their ribs severed from the spine with a sharp tool, and their lungs pulled through the opening to create a pair of wings.
Yeah.
Oh,
brilliant. Yeah, it's a bit nasty.
A bit nasty?
Yeah. Well, it'll be over fairly quickly.
I don't know.
Oh, well.
Anyway.
Either way, yeah.
Sometime later, we've got the funeral for Olaf, and it's very atmospheric, and there's this amazing scene of this guy blowing this really cool long horn. That's fantastic. Orm says a prayer to Odin, now in his capacity as chief, of course, which is quite flowery, literally.
Mm.
And it soon turns into a passive-aggressive, posthumous rant against his brother, which ends with him somehow placing Olaf's approval on himself as the new chieftain. Which,
yeah, he does make it all about him.
Yeah.
And how he wasn't invited to the birthday parties or whatever when he was a small child.
Yeah. Or the parties when he grew up.
Excluded from this and that by his brother.
Yep.
And blah, blah, blah.
But I know that looking down, you're happy to see me
as the new chieftain.
As the new chieftain. Yes, exactly. It does raise a few eyebrows.
Yep.
And there's clearly a bit of scepticism going about all this. But they make their way down to the inlet and place Olaf on the funeral raft and push him off. Which is set to beautifully mournful chanting music. And Orm, the new chieftain, taking charge, he lights he attempts to light the pyre on the raft with a flaming arrow, which doesn't happen, and upsets everyone because Olaf won't get to Valhalla.
Yeah, unless
the whole thing's not set alight, of course.
Yep.
So they boo him, which he deals with that by ranting at them a bit.
Yeah. They were very brave for booing him. Then he goes, turns around, how dare you boo me?
Yeah.
How many of you have ever tried to fire an arrow? Anyway, we'll get into those gags later on. But
that's why I'm not going into detail now.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he does try and sugarcoat the whole thing by announcing that next weekend there's going to be a funeral feast. And who doesn't love a feast?
Good point.
The next day, some riders enter the village, and this is, sure enough, Jarlvarg's men looking for Olaf's map to the west. And they're disappointed to find that it's been put on the funeral raft. And it was put on the funeral raft because apparently the thing to do was to put a person's prized possessions with them as they went off to Valhalla. So,
right.
Anywho, Orm instructs Kark, the slave, to row out and find the raft and the map and bring the map back.
Yeah.
Which, who knows where this thing is now? It's somewhere in the mid-Atlantic.
Only a few million square miles. It could be somewhere, but
Talk about a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of slaves, his next order of duty is to free Rufus, the Roman slave, as part of his cultural reformation of the village. Now, I should mention, Jeff, you wouldn't know that Rufus was woefully mistreated by the Vikings in the preceding episode.
Right, okay.
Yes, he's not had a good time of it.
Oh.
Anyway, so Orm asks Rufus to perform at the forthcoming feast because he's keen to see what he can do by way of performance. Which we cut to now, the feast, and Rufus is performing a scene from the Odyssey, which is Odysseus praising the skills of the skald, Demodocus.
Right.
Yes. A skald is a poet, right?
Oh, okay.
Yes, okay. And he says, no one's too interested in what's going on. He says, it's art, people. It's a classic, Ray. It's art, people.
Yeah.
Come on. Get on board. Anyway, the revellers aren't impressed.
No.
And later, Orm and Rufus meet outside. And Orm is having a grumble about some rune sticks, which have been doing the rounds, dissing him. But getting over that, not really getting over that, but moving past it for the time being, he appoints Rufus as his creative director and agrees to his list of demands about creative freedom and resources and the such.
It's crazy.
Why is it crazy?
They woefully mistreated this guy, as you say, and then he's handing over utter creative freedom and agrees, whatever you decide to do, that's what we'll do, we won't question it. So, I mean...
But hang on, how can it be bad to give someone creative freedom?
No, but what I'm saying is...
Exactly.
I'm sensing your sarcasm here, but yes, he could do anything that's going to set the whole village up for misery. Anyway, well, not worry about that.
Yes. Anyway, so he's really excited, and he's saying, what are you going to do? What's your vision?
Yeah.
And Rufus goes, well, I think the first thing we should do is make an installation.
Yeah.
Orm agrees, but he's got no idea what one is.
Yeah.
In fact, I did write down here somewhere what... Oh, yes, okay, so... Installation art is an artistic genre. I know you know what
Yeah.
installation art is, Jeff, but just for the benefit of anyone who doesn't know, it's an artistic genre of three-dimensional works that are often site-specific and designed to transform the perception of a space.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just imagine how useful this would be to
The people
the average Viking.
struggling to survive
Yes.
through a harsh winter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, they head back inside, and Rufus takes to the stage again, and he's decided to go something which is a bit more for the masses. So he's doing a series of cheap illusions.
Simple conjuring tricks.
Yep. Which is going down reasonably well until Arvid arrives with a couple of other blokes, and they're a bit merry, and they get dressed down for their lack of punctuality, which he's told is not appropriate for a feast in honour of his new chieftain. And Arvid's like, what?
Yeah.
I
I thought this was a funeral feast for
Yeah.
our beloved Olaf.
We were going to get together and drink and laugh and cry and mourn together and stuff. Anyway, that doesn't go down well. And Orm requires Arvid to kneel and kiss his hand as a sign of his loyalty.
Yeah.
It's a new chieftain, a new regime, and the next day, Orm has got some brutes dragging people out of their homes. He wants to get to the bottom of this rune stick business.
Oh,
So he's got the 3 prime suspects apprehended, and which includes Hilda.
yeah.
He's,
One of them's the rune stick maker, so he's got to be suspect number
one of them
one.
was the rune stick maker, was it?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Because
I
he
didn't know
said,
that. Oh,
yeah, this dude's job in the village is the rune stick maker. Anyway.
okay, that one completely passed me by.
Okay, cool.
Nice pick up. Yeah, so Hilda is one of the suspects, and it turns out that she is the culprit.
Yeah.
And then she and Orm get into a very philosophical discussion about freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And then, following a judgment from the Speaker of the Law, she ends up taking a punch to the guts from Orm. And she says, "You've gone too far." And she swears to get her revenge.
Yeah.
Orm is sitting on... We cut to a scene where Orm is sitting on his throne, and he seems to be contemplating this. And then we get a flashback to him killing Olaf the previous day. And he's kind of wincing as he remembers this.
Yeah. He's got some regrets.
You think?
I reckon he has.
I don't know.
Well, he didn't seem very happy.
No.
Yeah.
He's got his feet in a nice warm water
Herby
and mint
water.
or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, that's right.
Yes. Anyway, Kark arrives back, having rowed back from the mid-Atlantic for the last couple of days. And he's retrieved the map to the west, which Orm says that he's forgotten all about.
Oh.
He must have been caught up in the excitement of his new program, Jeff.
Yep.
And speaking of that, the next scene is outdoors again, with Orm proudly overseeing some form of construction, and he declares to Arvid, who's just arrived, that Norheim is going to be a cultural capital.
Ah.
He's been chieftain for 2 months, and he's already got this installation underway,
Yeah.
which is better than anything that Olaf ever did in his time as chieftain.
Yeah, in his 10 years as chieftain.
Arvid says, I think he might have had other priorities.
I think he did.
It's like putting food on the table of his village and things like that. Yes, but Arvid says there is a problem because they've run out of metal and stuff to achieve Rufus's vision. And pushed to be a little solution-oriented, he suggests a raid, which is what they normally do when they need stuff.
Yeah.
Orm surprisingly decides, yes, that's what they'll do. By the way, he's never been on a raid.
Has he not? Oh,
No.
I see.
Does
No,
it
you
seem
can
like
sort
it
of-
would be
no, yeah,
his
you
kind of thing?
You can no, it doesn't, and you can pick that up from the context because when he agrees to go on a raid, they're all like, "Are you sure? This is amazing. All right, we're going on a raid. I can't believe it."
We're doing it. We really are. So Arvid, he's really pumped, and he thumps Orm
Yeah.
on the shoulder. Orm's like, oh, goodness. And he says, we're going to pillage and rape again. Woohoo! And then the music soars up underneath.
Yeah.
Orm looks pensive, and that's the end of the episode.
Yep.
I've got some general notes about character.
All right, I like talking about character, so let's start there.
Yes.
Now, I was trying very hard to keep track of who was who and what was
Yes,
what.
I can see you were paying close attention to that.
Well, I had to make a list while you were reading them out before. But yes, all right, cool. So who are you starting with? I mean, obviously the star of this episode, whether you actually like him or not, it's a different thing, is Orm.
Orm.
Yes.
Yes. Well, okay, so my notes on Orm. He's got the will to power. I'm just not sure that anyone else is on board with what his vision is for the village.
No.
Apart from Rufus, that is, who's obviously landing right on his feet
Yeah.
and milking the new chieftain's fascination for culture for all it's worth.
Yep.
So he was literally in the pigsty in the previous episode, and now he's been lifted right up. And
Creative director.
yes. Well, Orm is also very egocentric, and we've talked about how the funeral feast gets turned into a celebration of his
Yeah.
taking over as chieftain, and also becomes a display for Rufus's dubious theatrical abilities.
Yep.
Like, I'm wondering if you knew what he was supposed to be performing, whether he was quoting it correctly or making a complete mash of it.
Oh,
Of course, they wouldn't know.
Yeah.
The Vikings, I mean.
The classical stuff.
Orm's also displaying dictatorial
Yeah.
tendencies, squashing freedom of speech. Boo.
Totally. Without wanting to be seen like he's doing so. He wants
Yeah.
everyone to think he's a lovely...
I won't like it, but I'll defend your
Democratic
right
dude.
to say it.
Yeah.
To the death.
Except on this one occasion.
It's just innocent fun.
So you think this is just an innocent joke?
Yeah, it's humor.
Humor?
Yes.
So you think punishment is a humor too?
Punishment for writing rune sticks? What happened to freedom of speech?
Okay, it's like this. I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it.
Great. Now I was really starting to wonder.
Yes, but in this specific case, you went too far.
He puts his own warriors' lives at risk and other people to the sword
Yeah.
for the sake of Rufus's art installation.
Mm-hmm.
Pays no heed to the issue of the map, putting the village in danger,
Yep.
and doesn't care about the little people, Jeff. What about poor old Kark?
Yeah. Exactly.
2 or
Who's
3
never-
days. 2 or 3 days rock.
no skin on his hands from rowing and rowing and rowing and rowing against the rough wood of the oars.
Yeah, not a scrap of skin left on his hands.
Ah.
Now, I was thinking, why didn't they give him a lighter or something like that so he could set fire to the raft while he was out there?
Oh, yeah. Good call. Yeah. He could have got his Zippo out.
Orm didn't care.
But yes, Orm is not exactly doing what's best to guarantee life for the village, and then whatever's left over you might be able to put into art projects
Yes,
and
that's
creating your cultural capital. But don't...
right. He's not got his priorities right, has
No.
he? No. Should we talk about Hilda?
Yes?
She's so ruthlessly unsentimental and pragmatic. She's up at dawn to find out from the shaman which way the wind is blowing with Olaf,
Yeah.
her husband.
Presumably so that, as we, was hinted at, whoever's going to be the new ruler, she can get in good with them and maintain her
Status.
status. Anyway, yeah, so she's basically looking to stay
she-
as the first lady of the village, so to speak.
Yes, but I was going to say that while her husband is having the life squeezed out of his heart, she's putting the moves on Arvid, practically right next door.
Oh, dear.
Yes. Anyway. And then the last person I had down was Arvid, who, like Olaf says, has all the right instincts, or he's got it all in him, but he's passive, letting physically weaker,
Yeah.
but more stronger-willed people push him around, and he's a bit slow on the uptake as well, which doesn't help. So he knows, for example, that Olaf wants him to be leader, and he knows there's something fishy about
What's happening with...
what's going on with Olaf dying like 5 seconds after he's walked out the door and Orm's there.
Yeah.
But he just fails to follow through on it.
Yeah.
And he's now like the leader of the Vikings that go on the raids.
Yep.
The warriors of the
Yeah, he's the general,
village.
as opposed to the king.
Yeah, and obviously there's
whatever.
some like hired thugs kind of thing that Orm makes use of, but as for the main fighting core of the village, he's got those people in his pocket. So.
He's the military leader. He could
Yeah.
have a military coup.
But no, doesn't happen.
Ah. But that's setting up some nice tension later on,
course.
presumably. Yeah.
Of course, it's got to be this way.
Yep.
Yep. Right, do you want to talk about some scenes or some gags?
Yeah, well, should I talk about my observations on the
Yes.
characters?
Yeah.
All right,
Definitely.
now, and I say this with all apologies to people who are connoisseurs of, say, the British Office,
Yep.
and also of this show, because I've not watched a lot of British Office. I have watched a lot of American Office, but I know that basically in both shows, whether it's Michael, or David Brent,
Yep.
they are these they're incompetent leaders.
Yep.
And their priorities are all wrong, and they're about putting themselves first. And I guess with David Brent, it is ego. With Michael, it's less about ego, but more about wanting people to like him.
Yeah,
he
I
wants
think he wants
to
to be
liked.
everyone's friend.
Yeah, exactly. And so I see Orm as, I've just put Orm is David Brent. So basically he hasn't got what it takes to be the leader, but he thinks he'd be an awesome leader. And he's doing he's glorifying in the fact that he's in charge. And he wants glory. He wants everyone to see him as being awesome. So basically he's trying to, raiding isn't his strength. So he's not going to put his village on the map by consolidating power and doing all these necessary things. He's going to have an art installation and make it a cultural thing.
Right.
So that he can get all this kudos and become a regional leader and have people think, wow, Orm, what an amazing thing he's done with that village, without actually having to earn it just by putting up a Ponzi art installation, which he hasn't even designed. Yeah. Anyway, I just think he's a
Interesting
bit
thoughts.
David Brentian.
Hadn't made that connection.
Yeah, and he doesn't like it when people criticise him, so he can't handle criticism whatsoever.
No.
So he's got a very fragile ego, hence the rune sticks. The rune stick scene.
Yeah, I think he might have been better off just saying, it's water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
Or at least pretending that it's water off the duck's back.
Yeah. But he's totally showing that it's all hit a nerve. Oh.
And of course, in the going through the motions of the legal process, the rune sticks and what's written on them needs to be entered into evidence and read out. And everyone's cacking themselves.
Right. Oh, well, yeah. So this episode was, and whoever the actor is that plays Orm does a brilliant job. He's just superb, completely unlikable. But, geez, he's doing a good job. But he would have just got the script for this one and went, yes. Yes, but no, I don't like Orm.
No?
No.
Not your cup of tea?
Yeah. Anyway,
Not
sorry,
your cup of mead.
please, no. Where were you going next?
Well, I'll talk through some of these scenes, and then we'll get on to some gags. When Hilda leaves the shaman's place, his hut, the shaman shrugs about the fact that she didn't end
Drink the
up
spirit.
drinking from the...
She hands him back the
frosty
bowl
pot.
and leaves.
She hands it back, and
He's standing there holding the
he's
bowl.
like, he's not going to let this go to waste. He drinks it himself.
Yeah. He can't see why anyone would turn down a perfectly good swig of...
Maybe it's like the Catholic priests where they can't let the communion wine go to waste, so they've got to knock it back themselves.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Oh, well, there we go.
Well, it becomes the blood of Christ,
Oh,
according to their tradition.
Oh, you can't just bung it down the drain.
You can't throw it down the drain, right?
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah. What have I got next? When Orm makes his way past, or when Arvid makes his way past Orm, it kind of knocks Orm a bit sideways on his way into the room, and there's this lamp that's on a chain, and it kind of gets knocked swinging, and the actor who plays Orm puts his finger on the bottom of the lamp
to steady the lamp.
To steady it, and it's just... I think that was probably a brilliant bit of improvisation. Which was
That's amazing you say
hilarious.
that.
Did you actually notice
I've
that?
got Orm steadying the light after Arvid exits. And that's just, I thought exactly what you're saying. Beautiful attention to detail, probably improvised, and it's probably quite right, because if you've got a sick person there, when the candle thing's swinging around, it looks like the room is moving around.
Well, even the filming, it would be...
Yeah.
You couldn't have that keep swinging, could you?
No, it
No way.
makes you feel all queasy, so it's just, it's a brilliant touch.
Now, the ensuing scene in which Orm kicks off these questions about, how are you feeling? Can you feel this? Can you push against me? All this sort of stuff. And
Olaf says, I'm so weak I can't even lift my arms.
Could
Oh,
you,
really?
Yeah, I really. What about your neck? Can you move your head, or could you headbutt? No, couldn't do that at all. He's like, So it takes this... This is what I mean by treading that thin line between just hilarious and terribly...
Murderous and ruthless.
Yes, exactly. Orm, during the funeral, he's standing on a box. I don't know if you noticed that.
No.
Yeah, he's standing on a box to make himself appear bigger, and maybe to be seen, I don't know. But he gives the peace out salute.
Oh. No.
I love how they bring like modern
No.
elements. No,
No. So, I'm taking the opposite tack from you
No?
on that one.
Okay.
No, I think it's needless. I'm looking forward to a bit of unique Nordic humour here, and they bring in the cliched American line. So I've in my notes it just says Americanisms, player/game. So when they're doing the spit scene, and he's saying to Hilda, "For the prophecy to come true, you must drink from the prophecy bowl," and she's. Hang on, this is full of spit. I'm not drinking this. He goes, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah. Now, where's that from? That's the soccer expression.
Oh,
is it?
that's just a classic Americanism, I think.
Oh, is it?
Derived from sports, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, anyway, and then that and the thump in your chest and putting the peace out thing. Oh,
Yeah,
bringing
but
those
it's-
in, it's
It's a bit. It's
I can understand how you'd think,
it's not
lovely
over the
and
top, surely.
Look, you could argue that Blackadder is full of the same things, saying stuff from that we know
Upstart
from
Crow's
today.
even worse.
Yeah, exactly. But I think
Half
they
of
do
Upstart
it.
Crow is commentary on Donald Trump.
But they do it in a much better way than what was done here. Because in this case, they've put in the literal things that people would do today. So no, I accept. I can see why you think it's awesome, and it did make me laugh. But then I immediately groaned. Yeah.
I laugh and a groan.
So yes, I agree. Well spotted. It's a good technique for them to shove in. It's the sort of thing a sitcom writer should shove in. But I'm not digging it, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about when they're down, the whole community? By the way, how many extras did they have in this scene where they're sending Olaf off on the barge,
Yeah.
on the raft?
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. I don't think we've ever
Well,
seen
no,
so
2 or
many
3
extras.
dozen, or
Yeah. And they're all in uniform. They're all in costume. Amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, the bit where Orm says, because they've just booed him. Have any of you ever tried to fire a bow and arrow with cold
with frozen
fingers?
fingers.
And basically every single hand goes up.
Including the little 8-year-olds
Yeah.
that put their hands up and they go, yeah,
The little 8-year-old girls are putting their hands up.
of course we have. And we managed to do it.
Yep.
All right, so let's explain this further for the dear listener. So the funeral raft is going away. You have to be able to fire your arrow into it to set it on fire. Otherwise, Olive won't get it to Valhalla. Now, we might have explained that before. But yes, so basically, because, again, he's a glory seeker and he wants to be in control, Orm, the brother, wants to be the one to fire the arrow. And it just ineffectually goes plop into the water, like 6 feet short of where it should be. And the raft's only 20 feet away at this point. And then it's just arrow after arrow just keeps going into the water, absolutely uselessly. And then, Arvid's going, just let me do it. He's going, no. I'll do it. Anyway, yes.
And then you had a theory that he might have been deliberately. Have we talked about that already?
Yeah, no, we did. We did talk about that, and we promised to save it for now, but I think we made our point. But yeah, so that's the background of this whole scene. And I did write down, I know we're going into gags, it's just a brilliant line. He just goes, listen, my fingers are cold and these arrows are too slippery for my style of shooting, okay? These arrows are too slippery for my style of shooting.
The never shoot style of shooting.
Yeah, because everyone's got the same arrows. What's going on, man?
Oh dear.
So that was all really good.
It's not a good look.
I like it.
The scene where Rufus is acting out the Odyssey. This is next level humour, Jeff.
I hope so.
Because he's chosen a scene where Odysseus, who is a king, is praising the skills of Demodocus, the skald or the poet,
Oh, right.
for his recitation that he's just gone through. So
Yep.
he's basically trying to elicit a similar response from
Yeah.
Orm to what he's acting out.
There. Oh, very nice.
It's genius.
Very good. As David Mitchell and Shakespeare would say, look, my humour is funny. It just needs copious footnotes.
Yes,
So this is one of those.
that's right.
Yep.
In the scene, in a similar thing to the arrow, there's this scene where Orm and Rufus are outside the feast having this chat about setting him up as the creative director. And Rufus is skillfully skipping these stones throughout the conversation. He's getting like 3 or 4
Bounces off the water.
off the stone. And at one point, Orm's picked up a stone and he kind of haphazardly throws it out of his hand and you just hear this blop.
I didn't see
It's
that.
such a
That's
contrast
Ah.
to what Rufus has been doing. It's just this one really loud plop off screen.
Yeah. See, and that's where you can sort of give props to the actors. And, you know, if that's down to the director who says, hey, man, I want you to do this and this and this, it's a nice add-on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't pick it up until about my third or fourth viewing.
Mm.
Now I've just got some lines. What have you...
Well,
you got any
okay.
other comments
Well,
before we
no,
go to
man,
those?
my stuff's all over the shop, dude. So, okay, let's go back to the speech where the self-serving speech that Orm gives. My brother is dead, and, you know, I'm hoping that as we send him off, that the gods will set the table with their finest tableware and bring out the good curtains and do it. So the gods are
All the flowers of the rainbow.
Yeah, it's just, yes, and that was before the speech meandered off into him and his list of grievances.
Do you think Olaf was looking forward to the good curtains and
The finest
all the flowers
tableware.
of the rainbow
Yeah.
when he got to Valhalla?
I don't.
Was
It's
he
not
looking forward to
carousing and drinking and
drinking mead and...
smashing mugs over your head.
Yeah.
Oh, that was some good writing right there. That was pretty cool. Yeah, now, look, I brought up a thing here where I said it burned Johnson's dictionary.
You were getting all sorts of Dr. Johnson's dictionary
Yeah.
vibes off that, weren't you?
From Blackadder, where Baldric and Blackadder burnt Dr. Johnson's dictionary, the only copy in existence.
You did say
It's
to burn
taken him
any
10
old
years
rubbish.
to do it. Yeah. And so here we have a map, an irreplaceable map of which there is only one copy, that the person who wants it is prepared to kill each and every one of them to get.
Yep.
And they've totally lost this map. So it's very much a Johnson's Dictionary Blackadder moment there.
Yep.
But I mean, if you're going to steal, you steal from the best. It's brilliant. The only thing I want to point out is, as far as funniest scenes go, obviously there's the spit drinking conversations between Hilda and the shaman, and then the rune sticks ongoing episodes. That's all very... I think it's because it's smutty humour, and I found it quite endearing. It's like... Okay, so Orm is while he's talking to Rufus about setting up all this cultural stuff, because he'd said to him, look, I'm just going for a wee, and then I'll meet you outside in 5 minutes.
Yep.
And so he's meeting Rufus outside, and Orm's just been for his wee, and he goes, I found these rune sticks in the labs, and they're full of crude jokes about me. Now, who's writing these things? And it's like someone's been doing memes about Orm.
It's only the next day after he became chieftain.
So it's basically the toilet graffiti of its day.
Yeah.
Yes, anyway.
And he goes to snap them over his knee. And he can't manage it.
He hands them to Rufus, who's been weakened by slavery and torture and not being fed, and he just snaps them in two like that.
Yep.
Anyway, so I thought the rune sticks and the spit were funny.
Well, I've got some lines.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'll rattle some of these off.
Yeah.
Orm says, when he's booed, you shouldn't boo your own chieftain. That's just child's knowledge.
Yeah. Now, is that a Nordic cultural thing that they
I've got
say?
no idea, but it's bloody hilarious.
There's two of these sayings that I thought might be common sayings in the Nordic places.
Ooh.
I didn't write them down.
If anyone
I don't
knows,
know. Yeah, that's right.
tell us. A Kark, when he's asked if he's serious about the map having been sent out on the raft, he says, serious as cancer. Yeah, he's obviously a fan of Rhythm is a Dancer by Snap.
What? Is that a line from that?
Yeah. You know, the rap
Yeah.
part of Rhythm is a Dancer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's what one critic described as the worst lyric of all time.
Oh, really? Okay. So they've made a way. You've had to do some research on this, Dave. Jolly good.
Oh, copious research.
Yeah.
I read the whole Odyssey.
Yeah.
I watched Rhythm is a Dancer on YouTube. Yeah. Orm at the feast, he's really upset about Arvid having come in late to the feast, and this is obviously playing off his insecurities about not having gotten invited to parties and all this sort of stuff. He says, this is a feast to honour your new chieftain, not some anecdotal get-together about the excellence of pre-parties, contra-parties.
Yep.
It's just a funny thing for a Viking to come out and say.
Oh, that's true.
Mm. And when he's talking to Hilda about the free speech, he says, okay, it's like this. I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. And then she responds and he says, but in this specific case, you went too far.
Yeah. Oh,
And then my final one is at the judgment. Orm puts on this black glove. And he just punches her right in the guts.
Yeah. And for all the things that they do, i.e. killing people and doing crazy stuff, like a punch in the guts is going too far. Especially when you've been caught for Rudy rune sticking the chieftain.
You take a punch in the guts any day of the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beats a blood eagle.
I totally
Hands
agree. Yeah.
What else have you got? Anything else?
Oh, look, it's all complaints from here, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, what have you got any gags left over?
I haven't got any gags. I've just got my summary now.
Ooh. All right, well, let me get all this off my chest first and I'll do all that. They're not really complaints as such. So, I'll put not many laughs in this one, but it is called The Funeral. And also it's pretty dark and dingy anyway. It's that sort of sitcom. I'll put it's a beautiful show, though, in terms of the cinematography. Holy crap. It's pretty good. Anyway, I've put this down to the modern humour of awkwardness, which I guess is why I was on the David Brent thing before.
Yep.
With Orm, his weak performance at putting in the arrows into the water. Now, in that village, you're not going to get a more sombre or serious occasion than the funeral of the chieftain.
Yep.
That is the apex of when you should absolutely be on your game.
You should be nailing it.
And he's dropping arrows in the water, and when people want to do it properly, he goes, no, no, no. And all his... what would you call it? I don't know, but his ego stuff made sure that his brother floated off into the distance, not having gone to Valhalla.
Yep.
So that's super awkward. And then when Orm can't break the rune sticks and this weedy slave breaks them, that's the humour of awkwardness. And, these arrows are too slippery for my style of shooting. All of this is based on the humour of awkwardness, which when The Office came around 20 years ago, or however long ago it was totally groundbreaking and all that. But here we are, nearly a couple of decades down the line, and the humour of awkwardness is commonplace now, and so it's probably less impactful than it could have been.
Well, at least they don't have someone staring down the barrel of the camera, rolling their eyes every time Orm does one of these things.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. So that's all I'm saying is that it's absolutely fine, and I thought it was a funny show, but they're doing... It's a similar point I had to when I was talking to you about What We Do in the Shadows, the latest version in America with Matt Berry, and thinking, well, this sort of mockumentary business, it was cutting edge again about 15, 20 years ago, but they're doing it now, and it's just the same worn-out gags we've seen from every other mockumentary show for the whole time, except this time it's with vampires. And so that's why, if it didn't have the actors it has, you'd think this is totally weak sauce, man. But, because it's got some decent actors in it doing a decent job, it's all right. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I just think it's all a bit... Yeah, so I am wondering, and I'm sure you're about to tell us, why this one out of all the ones that could have been chosen?
Well, I think this scenario seems to bring out the absolute worst in these characters we've just been talking about. Hilda, Arvid, and, well, particularly Orm. It's just, with the death of Olaf, it's funny and it's horrible at the same time. And I find myself trying to justify the things they do. And Orm, I was thinking, well, Olaf was obviously going to die.
Yeah.
So all he was doing was kind of hastening that, but no, I don't know.
It's still not a nice thing to do.
Still, yeah, so the whole situation puts you in this awkwardness, which we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
Which I do like the tone of it and how they put it all together.
So it's during these weird transitional times of complete imbalance and disaster that people's true colours come out.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, right.
Absolutely.
I get you.
And I have said here how it's, like you've said, it's beautifully shot, mostly outdoors. Just looks lovely. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
I love the whole look of it, the music. It was clearly a labour of love. Yep, I dig all that.
Well, fair enough too.
Well, I think I've said everything I want to say. What say you?
All right, well, I'm not keen to put this one into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
I do see exactly why you nominated it. And this will be another one where I just think maybe it wasn't the right episode. Because I kept waiting for the action to happen, which would probably be Jarl Varg riding into town and trying to kill everyone.
Slicing someone's head off.
But yeah, so I give it full marks for how it looks. The acting was superb. I just thought it was a bit depressing and there weren't that many gags in it. And it's, again, the humour of awkwardness, which I think is a bit played out at this point. But I think it's a high-quality sitcom that I would like to see more of.
All right. Well, maybe I'll bring some back another time.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching that with me. They can't all be winners.
No, they can't.
No. Oh, next week. Not next week. Next month.
Next month?
The Good Place.
Yes. Oh, now you and I have been having a few discussions about the recent Good Place episodes, and
lengthy discussions.
I've been giving them a right kicking. In fact, I've since watched the latest episode.
The latest?
The latest that you and I haven't spoken about.
Yep.
And
I think at this point we should just not speak of it any further, otherwise we're going to keep your powder dry, Jeff.
I will.
And we'll see you next month for a discussion about The Good Place. Okay, see you listeners.
Bye.
Join us next time on Sitcom Showdown when we'll be putting another 5-star episode under the microscope. And in the meantime, you can contact us with feedback on Facebook, Twitter @Sitcom Showdown, or by email sitcomshowdown@gmail.com.